Welcome back. You're watching Newslink here on ENCA. Well, as classes reopen, the taxi strike in Cape Town has left many pupils on the side of the road. While Golden Arrow has offered its bus services to transport stranded pupils, the City's School Transport Association has announced that its services across all areas are affected by the violence, and they've been suspended out of safety concerns for children and drivers. For more on this, we cross now to our reporter, Nobesuthu Hejana. Nobesuthu, thank you for joining us. What are you hearing about school attendance starting from yesterday?
Well, Annika, according to the Education Department, provincially, they did say that there was a slight decline to the number of children or pupils who attended school yesterday. And earlier on, we spoke to the School Transport Association here in the Western Cape that was saying that out of fear, they had to suspend their services, and also are calling on the Department of Education to also provide those safety measures to ensure that children are traveling to school. But for now, we are at the Hillside Primary School in Mitchell's Plain. We will be talking to the teachers here just to find out the impact of those taxi violence on attendance. We also heard from the principal that 15% of the children did not attend school. But for more on this, I'm joined by Uticha Umanaledi. Ma'am, can you just tell us about this week, or from yesterday and this morning? How bad were the numbers of attendance in this school?
Good morning, ma'am. The attendance is very poor in our classes. 50% are using school transport to come to school because most of learners are coming from Khayelitsha, so they are using taxis to come to the school. So it affected the learners. So even this morning, the attendance is still very poor. Yesterday it was a little bit better, but this morning it's very poor. So the teaching is not taking place because the learners, they are not in the classes. Only 10 maybe in one class out of our 20 learners, since we are still platooning here. But in the afternoon it is better because most of learners are staying here around Mitchell's Plain. But in the morning, the learners, they are coming from Khayelitsha. And it also affects us as teachers, because we are also parents. I have to drop my daughter in Rondebosch this morning because she's also using a scholar transport. So I came late in school, 8:05. That is the time that I arrived here because I have to travel from Khayelitsha to Rondebosch to drop my daughter.
And in terms of like the school work, how will then this impact learning in the school?
It's going to affect most of the learners because we didn't plan. We gave them the packages while we closed. But now we thought that we are coming back. So it means that if it also continues this week, we need to do another plan, meaning that we need to give the learners the work at home so that they can work it at home.
All right, thank you very much. Well, Annika, that was the teacher here at the Hillside Primary School saying that they will provide assistance to families and pupils who have not been able to attend school.
All right, thank you so much, Nobesuthu Hejana, there in the Western Cape, saying pupils are struggling to get to school because of these taxi wars. Well, for more on this, let's go to the Western Cape Education Department's Bronagh Hammond on the impact of some Cape Town school pupils. Bronagh, thanks for joining us. How many pupils were affected who needed scholar transport yesterday and this morning?
Yeah, the definitive numbers aren't clear yet because the schools are on rotation as well, so we can't just look at their absentee numbers. But reports that I'm getting from principals indicate that we have some schools up to 50% and other schools up to 70 to 90%. One of the garden school principals that in the City Bowl I spoke to just a few minutes ago, he told me that he saw a 77% attendance rates for their matrics, and it went up to 81% today. So that's a positive sign. At least it's a few percent more. But in their grade 10s, they only had 51% that attended. So it's definitely having an impact on our commuter schools.
What do you suggest parents actually do while we wait for these taxi wars to be resolved? It's really tricky for them because they have to get to work too, as that headmistress was saying in our previous interview.
No, it's extremely disruptive. And, we've gone through so much as a sector in the past year and a half. And now this has been placed upon us. And at the start of the third term, we've got less than 100 days to go for our matriculants. So that's also another very big concern. But I know that the Golden Bus service is at least running in all areas. And that's taxi associations not affiliated to CARTA and to Codeta are operating. But yes, the Scholar Learner Transport Association, that is a concern because that directly impacts those parents and those learners. And we're asking those parents to see if they can find alternative transport on, let's say, Golden Arrow buses and so forth, where there has been an increased number of operations in areas that have been affected by Codeta and CARTA.
Bronagh, can you subsidise some of those bus routes for scholars, or at least provide some sort of police escort for the scholar learner transport teams?
Well, we are talking to, obviously, SAPS, the Metro Police and so forth, but there is discussions, but that is done with the Department of Transport, Public Works and Transport. We cannot subsidise taxis ourselves. That would not be possible given the PFMA requirements as well as the emergency procurement that is required, but as well as budget. We do not have the budget for that, but we are obviously in discussion with our provincial department counterparts in terms of what we can do to assist. And I think that getting the Learner Transport Scholar Association back on track would be very, very helpful.
All right, Bronagh Hammond, you've got your hands full there. A tricky situation. These kids are desperate to get to school and they just can't. So tricky for them. Well, Bronagh Hammond with the Western Cape Education Department, thank you again for your time.